Hi friends, welcome to another video of Easy Automation, and today we'll be talking about the Apple M1 update that I purchased like 3 months before. At least exactly 3 days from the date the Apple M1 was launched, I purchased that. It took almost like 3 to 4 weeks for me to get into my hand. But yes, the Apple M1 is really cool. I started releasing a lot of videos on Apple M1, and you could see that there are so many videos discussing the Apple M1 introduction, installing on Visual Studio Code, and installing Office, Docker, Parallels Desktop, and Kubernetes, and Visual Studio 2019, like a full-blown version, and also installing Visual Studio 2019 on the Parallels Desktop using the Windows 10 ARM operating system, and how you can run Puppeteer and Selenium and SpecFlow, and all those discussions which is required for automation testing. And in fact, I have created a full-blown course on this MacBook Pro, which is nothing but the end-to-end test automation with Playwright. So if you have seen, I have been releasing a lot of discussion on the Playwright, and it's all discussed on this particular course. And there are some hiccups here and there because you cannot use Visual Studio Code straight away using the code dot, because there is an M1 supported Visual Studio Code which don't run on Rosetta platform. It runs natively on the Apple M1 platform. So I need to use the code -exploration dot for opening the Visual Studio Code. I mean, yes, there are some changes here and there because Microsoft don't want to just override your code dot experience to run the Rosetta based Visual Studio Code, because hopefully soon Microsoft is going to start making the Visual Studio Code as a cross-platform running natively on the M1 as a supported version as well. So code dot is going to remain always, and Visual Studio Code with code -exploration dot is just for the time being, right? So that's some of the changes which I discussed during the course release and all those things. But yes, Apple M1 is really cool, and I could see the power of the Apple M1 chip in terms of the batteries and how it works, and how I can really use much less charging compared to my earlier earlier Apple MacBook Pro. This guy is really beast. And honestly, in past 3 months, even though I do a lot of compiling, a lot of processing using the Camtasia, I could see that the Mac M1 just ran only 2 or 3 times with the fan, and all those times it was very silent. If I use my Windows operating system or my older MacBook Pro 2017, I know that the fan kicks off pretty quickly. But this time, I've never ever seen the fan kicking off very quickly. Rather, like if I keep doing a lot of processing while I'm editing on the Camtasia, then the fan starts in. Not very instantly as well, like after like half an hour or 1 hour after the fans kicks in. And the climate right now in Auckland is actually warmer than compared to the next couple of months after, because it's high summer right now, and that's the reason it's getting warmer probably. And that's the reason maybe the fan is spinning as well. I don't really think that because of the external climate the fan may run or not. I'm not sure about that, but I'm definitely sure that the fan has not really ran a lot of time in all these 3 months while I'm using this MacBook Pro, which is pretty cool. And the next question which I always get from the viewers is like, can I use this MacBook Pro with Apple M1 for my Android based testing using the Android emulators? The answer is no, you can't at the moment, because there is no support for the Android emulator running on the MacBook powered by the Apple M1. It's not natively supported yet. There are some development versions going on, but I have not personally tried it. The very easiest way that I have tried personally is connecting a physical device on the MacBook using the connectors on the cables, and then you can use the ADB command to actually connect the real devices. Those things you can do, but you cannot run the emulators. Of course, the simulator of the iOS is natively running because it's iOS, and Xcode is also supporting the Apple M1 architecture. So yes, you can use the iOS, but definitely not the Android. That is one of the hiccups for the mobile testing side. But I don't really see there is any other problem so far. Like Cypress is working fine, Puppeteer is working fine, Playwright is working fine, Selenium is working fine, and Test Project is working fine. And I have not tried Catalan Studio, but it should be working fine as well because it runs on the Eclipse IDE, and Rosetta is covering that. Definitely it's going to work as well. So all these testing related softwares are working fine. In fact, Visual Studio 2019 is also working fine. So I think that the Apple M1 is ready for testing, at least for the testers to test your applications. I don't see any downside of it. But Parallels Desktop still it supports the Windows 10, which is an ARM-based architectured processor operating system, and not the full-blown x86 or 64-bit operating system. It is not supported yet on the Parallels Desktop. So if you want to run an x64 based application using Windows 10 on Parallels Desktop on Apple M1, you can't do it at the moment. I think teams are actually working on it, but if you really wanted to try it out, you can try it out using the Parallels Desktop, like a preview version to run on the Windows 10 ARM based operating system. That is the only thing that you can do. And once again, guys, there is a good news. So if you really wanted to purchase Parallels Desktop, you can actually use the affiliation link down the link below, which gives you a lot of discounts. You can use it and try it out and see how the Parallels Desktop is going to be helpful for you if you really wanted to do it. I mean, it's really, really cool to see how you can use Parallels Desktop on the Apple M1 and run it. It's much, much easier. So that's it, guys. Once again, this is my update on the MacBook Pro powered by Apple M1 chip, and how I'm actually using it for past 3 months, and how it is working fine, and how the testing is actually going on with this particular MacBook Pro. Thank you for watching. Meet you in the next one.